What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and the self-proclaimed victims of Gamergate continue to be some of the most insufferable and miserable women online, and that's saying something. The likes of Brianna Wu, Zoe Quinn, and throw in Anita Sarkeesian too. People that have failed at everything they've tried to do and have moved from one grift to the next, all while being an absolute embarrassment and a laughingstock, yet continuing to stay relevant through their fake victim narrative. Well, it's always funny to watch these people eat each other alive, and in the case of Brianna Wu and Zoe Quinn, that might be happening with Brianna Wu's upcoming Gamergate-inspired TV series. Just what everyone wanted, something that hasn't been around for 7 years, something that these people continue to try to make relevant because it means that they might still be relevant. And Brianna Wu was talking about it yesterday. Now Zoe Quinn has said some things about it today. These people really are the scum of the earth. These are people who lie, who have created fake death threats against themselves and been caught in 4K doing it. These are people who continue to not fulfill Kickstarter projects and completely ignore the people that paid their money for it. These people are literal scum. And man, that is not a very attractive thumbnail from Bounding Into Comics, but those might be the best images they can get of these two women, and I do use the word women very loosely here. Zoe Quinn unhappy with Brianna Wu's plans for Gamergate TV series. If I'd been asked, I wouldn't have been okay with it. And of course, what are we talking about? We're talking about this headline from yesterday. God, look at that picture. I told you that might be the best picture of Brianna Wu there. Here's another one. Brianna Wu to helm new Gamergate TV series aimed at showing, quote, how the tactics of Gamergate led to Christchurch on January 6th. As a reminder, Gamergate took place 7 years ago. It didn't even last very long. It was simply people calling the attention to what the mainstream games journalists are doing, and how this infusion of identity politics and woke nonsense has led to people in the gaming industry that don't know what they're doing or talking about, and they, of course, are trying to change it from the inside and talk down to the rest of the gaming community. Similar things that we've seen happen in comics, in movies, everywhere, happen in games as well. Gamergate 2014. That's what we're talking about, and they're talking about it leading to January 6th. Brianna Wu is a literal fucking insane person, if you couldn't tell from a lot of these pictures here. She is legitimately insane. You can look more into Brianna Wu if you want to know more about that. By explaining how they were unable to stop the video game industry from being hijacked by the lunatic fringe, we can show the tactics of Gamergate were the same ones that led to tragedies like Christchurch and January 6th. My fucking God. But the funny part is really this, the fact that now Zoe Quinn, who probably wanted in on the grift, who's probably upset that she wasn't a part of this deal, because if she could make a buck on it, you know she would have been all in on this. One of Gamergate's most central figures is unhappy with Brianna Wu's recently announced decision to develop a series based on an 8-year-old internet happening. And let's go real quick, just look at what she says here. Let's look at what Brianna Wu says. Oh, I didn't expect this to drop today. Cat's out of the bag. I'm working with Hollywood on a Gamergate TV series. Let me share with you the pitch and why this is a series that won't be a train wreck like the Law & Order episode. Gamergate is not going to be a feminist melodrama about death threats. It's fiction. That is the most accurate thing you've said. Everything that you're inventing about Gamergate is fiction, Brianna Wu. It's going to take place in the industry, and it's going to be at the efforts of an institution to stop an extremist fringe from taking over, and how it fails. It's overwhelmingly fictional characters. Some public figures get mentioned, but the characters are journalists, CEOs, devs, and law enforcement, because the only way to tell the truth about what happened is to make it fiction. That's the only way to tell your truth about what happened, because your truth is fiction. Brianna Wu, we've gone over this several times. One of my rules in writing is no stereotypes. We're not going to treat gamers or the game industry with disrespect. In fact, it's going to celebrate what I love, but also note how powerless we all feel with an increasingly radical fringe in the fan base. I feel a lot of pressure co-writing this. It's my goal to represent what women in our field face. Then why are you writing it? But with nuance and compassion. You can trust me to tell a more true story about game development than has been told before. Very dramatic. Well, now Zoe Quinn is not super excited about this. This recaps a little bit of what we talked about. However, despite Brianna Wu's excitement at the chance to tell a disingenuously slanted interpretation of the events, Zoe Quinn, whose role in sparking the entirety of Gamergate has been routinely documented, as someone who may or may not have slept with people to get good reviews or get benefits, maybe that's what they mean by Zoe Quinn kicking off Gamergate, #5guys, is less than thrilled that such a project is moving forward. After reportedly getting a lot of emails about Wu's series, Quinn took to her personal Twitter account to inform her followers. Since I've been getting a lot of emails, no, I've got nothing to do with that TV show. I learned about its existence the same time as the rest of you. No, I was not asked, consulted, etc. And if I had been asked, I wouldn't have been okay with it. That's all. I continued to reject any oversimplification of Gamergate that leaves out its roots in white supremacy, domestic violence, and the pre-existing societal issues it capitalized in favor of a more convenient and inaccurate narrative about it being solely about women in games. If I'm portrayed in it, it's without my involvement or any input, and it's happening without my consent. If I'm written out at all, well, I'm not so sure how you can present it as an honest story, but that's really not my problem either. So listen to what this bitch is saying. Zoe Quinn is saying, I don't want to be a part of this, I don't want to be in it. But if they're going to do it, I don't really understand how they could leave me out because I'm so important to it. She's literally just trying to get attention, try to drum up something so people feel bad for her, maybe so she can get on it, maybe so she can get some money out of it. Who knows why she's doing this. I don't want to do any interviews on this. I don't want to give any other statements aside from this. It's bad enough having all this pop up again without any warning or regard for how I might feel about it. So I'd like to just try to ignore it. Thank you for understanding. I'd like to try to ignore it, so I'm going to put a big fucking tweet about it. Okay, we understand. We understand, Zoe, you're back on the grift. Maybe people are asking more about your Kickstarter that is still yet to be fulfilled. Zoe Quinn, we know you're just playing victim again. Brianna Wu, Zoe Quinn, throw Anita Sarkeesian in there as well. Like we said, these people are perpetual victims, even though really they have nothing to be victimized about. Anytime you criticize one of them, well, you must just hate women in gaming. Anytime you give legitimate criticism to these people, it's racist, it's sexist, it's whatever. We've seen it over and over and over again. And it's funny to watch these two people go at it over something that is irrelevant, that happened 7 or 8 years ago, that does not matter anymore. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.